Okay, so we're gonna talk about composition. So these are composition notes. And this goes really well with our sketches. So a composition is how you arrange your artwork. So when you're creating sketches, you're creating small boxes, and the boxes represent the edge of your paper. Okay, so your paper could go this way, or your paper can go this way. And you want to roughly make it to the shape of your paper. So if we're using standard printer paper, then it's going to be kind of this like square, kind of a rectangle like shape. Now, when it's vertical like this is called portrait. And when it's horizontal, it is called landscape. Okay, that's the direction of the paper. So we are going to cover a few of these. So let's do this. We're going to do another set over here. And then let's do another set here. And then we're going to do one square one. Okay, so a composition is deciding where you're placing things in the artwork. So the first one we're going to talk about is symmetrical balance. And that's going to be these two boxes. Then we're going to talk about asymmetrical balance. We're going to talk about a composition called rule of thirds. And then we are going to just do one that is called radial. Giselle, I love that your cat just walked across your computer right now. Very, very cute.
He's a little baby, so he doesn't know what's going on.
It's okay. Mine have been meowing all morning. I'm surprised they're quiet right now. Here, I'll give you guys I'm gonna stop that. Okay, so when you're looking at artwork for symmetrical balance and asymmetrical balance, it's kind of like we're going to divide the paper in half. So I want to equally divide these little squares in half. So it's kind of like those like a teeter totter, right? Or like scales. You know, you want to have for symmetrical, you want to have an equal amount of stuff so that it weighs the same. So symmetrical is kind of like a mirror, right? So whatever I draw on one side, so maybe I draw like a stick figure here. Whatever I draw on one side, I want to draw the exact same thing, the exact same place, the exact same size on the other side. And this is symmetrical balance. So there's two, they're exactly the same. It's like a mirror. Okay, so that one I'm gonna write mirror next to it. Okay. But symmetrical balance just kind of also means that it's just equal. So it could be, you know, I have my stick figure, but then maybe on the other side, I have a different object, but that's the same size as the person. So maybe I have like a little Christmas tree. That's the same height in the same place as my stick figure. So this one, I'm gonna just put like equal. So like they're the same height, they're taking up the same amount of space, but they're gonna be balanced. So both of those could be symmetrical balance. Okay, so they don't always have to be mirror-like. They just have to be, things have to be placed in the same spot, right? So if I put like a little moon over here, then maybe I have like a little bird over here in this corner, right? Like it's all about balance, you know. Asymmetrical is a little bit different. It's one big item on one side, balanced by a group. So it's one big thing balanced by a group of little like items or things. So what that might look like, it could look like maybe we have part of a big house here. Let's see, I'm gonna put a window. Like we're really zoomed in. And then in the distance, so then we have like our ground line. And then maybe in the distance, we have a bunch of like small trees. Like a little forest. Okay, so it's always going to be like one big thing balanced by something else. Now, it might be, it might not be one big thing. It might be like, it could be a massive group of people versus like, I could put like a big group of people and then over here just put one or two people. So it's just like, it's a big, something big balanced by something small. So another example here, you know, maybe I have like a person. Looks more like a penguin, but it's okay. We're gonna go with it. And maybe our little person or penguin is looking at something on the ocean. So maybe we have like water here. And over here, it's balanced by one tiny little boat. Maybe there's some little birds around it. So I'm gonna draw those little like M-shaped birds. Okay, so one big thing balanced by something small. Now, the line that I drew down the middle, like You can do that when you're doing your sketches, because it doesn't really matter to me right now. Like this is what a sketch would look like. It's not very detailed. Like the people don't have a lot of details to them. So this is really what a sketch looks like. And we'll talk more about this later. But when you do the actual drawing, you don't want to put this line down the center. Like at some point, like you can draw it in, but you'll have to erase it, okay? It shouldn't be in the artwork. Now, am I going too fast? Are you guys okay? You with me still? Yeah? Okay. So the next one is rule of thirds. And rule of thirds is very similar to asymmetrical balance, except your artwork is broken up into 3 equal parts. So it's like creating a grid. So I'm going to break this up into 3 equal rows. And then I want to break it up into 3 equal parts going down. So they're going to be like little rectangles, rows of rectangles. And you want it as equal as possible. So it's like we're creating a grid, okay? I'm going to do the same here. So rule of thirds, I don't think Instagram does it anymore. Let me see. So, okay, so my camera does it. Let me see. So Instagram's camera used to have a grid. Do you see how I have a grid on my phone right here? Do you see it's really light? Okay, so that grid was actually put there so that people can use it to create interesting compositions. So essentially what we're doing is putting that grid onto our paper. And anything that you want people to pay attention to goes on the line. Now, you don't want everything to go on the line. So let's use this horizontal one first. So maybe like the ground. I'm going to want the ground to go on this line. So it can go on this line, it can go on this line. That's up to you. It doesn't have to go on that line. But I want the ground line to be here because I want what the tree, I'm going to put a tree here, and I want the tree to be what's the first thing that people are going to pay attention to. So I'm going to make sure that tree is on this line. Okay? Now, the difference between asymmetrical and rule of thirds is that this can be done. Because it's on those lines, I don't need small things to balance it out. Right? This one has to have one big thing and a group of small things. This one, it could just be by itself. If I want small things, then I don't want to put anything onto the line. So if I want like maybe a little sun, maybe I have a bird flying. Let's see. I can have it near the lines, but I don't want to put anything else on the lines. I only want the object. So does that make sense? Only things I want noticed go on the line. So you don't want everything. You just want like 1 or 2 things at most. So I'll let you give you a chance to copy that. Now, for the portrait paper, let's try this a different way. So maybe I have a person and they're looking down. and I'm making them big and they're on this line. So I know this person's gonna be really important for us to pay attention to. And maybe they're looking down at a child. So I'm gonna, on this line, because I want them to be in focus, I'm gonna draw my child looking up at the grown-up. And that's rule of thirds because I have those two figures on the lines. Plus the head, right? The head of the child is on the is on both lines. The head of the child is on the horizontal and the vertical line, and the adult child, their head is on the line, the horizontal and vertical line. So by putting the heads right here at these points, it really makes the heads more important because they're looking at each other, right? So that's something you want your viewers to pay attention to the faces. So by putting the faces on those points right there where the two lines meet, really makes it more important. Does that make sense? Have I lost you yet? Okay. So the last one we're going to cover is radial. And radial means that it's kind of going around. So usually there's something in the center of your artwork. So maybe it's the sunshine. And then there's stuff like coming out. So sometimes it's a shape that's going around the objects like this. Sometimes you have like lines extending out. But whatever it is, it kind of makes you feel like it's going around, okay? And usually this takes up the whole artwork. I have students who will like, don't draw this. They'll do something like in the corner here, and they'll do this, and then there's like other stuff in the artwork, and they're like, oh, this is radial design because this in this corner is radial. Well, no, that's not radial balance. It has to be the whole artwork. It cannot be part of the artwork. It has to be all of it, okay? It's how you arrange the whole thing. So radial, if it's radial, everything's gonna be flowing in this round circle throughout the whole thing. Any questions about this so far? No. Okay, so we're gonna play a guessing game real quick before we go on to sketches. Let's see, where's my stuff at? I want you looking at your notes. You are gonna tell me, let's look at this one. What composition is this artwork?
Symmetrical balance.
And why is it symmetrical balance?
Because there's one person on the left and then also on the right, and they're kind of the same height, not really, but like they're about the same way, and like the circle kind of is right in the middle, so it could be like a half circle put symmetrically.
Yeah, exactly. So if we were to cut this down the center, you have almost like that, not exactly mirror-like, but it's definitely balanced by two people approximately the same size. Okay, good job. Okay, someone different, tell me. No, let's not do that. Let's do this one. Tell me what composition is this one?
Asymmetrical balance.
Is it asymmetrical balance?
I honestly don't know.
Can someone help out and tell us why it's asymmetrical balance?
It's a landscape.
Oh, because it's a group of the people. There are like the small things, and then you have the big things to notice.
Yes, good. So this one was a little bit tricky. So you have this building and this tree that's really massive. That's taking up most of the artwork. And then you have these little people down here and like a little bit of it, and some more tree, right? So these little people are what's helping balance the big one. So asymmetrical balance definitely works for this one. Let's see, let's try another one. How about this one? So that's if I cut it in half, putting my pen. If I divide it into thirds, what composition?
Rule of thirds.
Rule of thirds, why?
Because everything's divided in three, and then the stuff to notice is on the line.
Right. So the figures are the, like this group here are the most important ones because they fall onto, and the little girl too, falls onto those, if I were to break this up into thirds, falls onto like those lines, those imaginary lines, right? So the little girl just falls onto, her head barely touches the one line, but so she's not as important, but this group is. Very good. Let's try one more. Someone different. What composition is this one? Any guesses?
Damn, I forgot to write it down, but is it the last one that we did?
Why
The
do you
one
think it's the last one?
Huh?
Why do you think it's the last one we learned?
Because it's one big focus in the center of the three guys.
Uh-huh. And then, but what else is happening that makes it that last one? Can anybody share the title of the last one we learned?
Radial.
Radial. So then what else would make this one radial? Besides that there's something focused on the center. There's something very special about radial. What was it?
Miss, can I answer again?
Yeah, go for it.
It's the fact that they're all kind of rotating in one big circle.
Yeah, so remember radial kind of gives us that circle, like we're moving around in a circle. So let's add that to our notes then here. So feels like you are moving in a circle. Very good. So when you were doing your sketches today, I want you to try to use some of these compositions, okay? And your sketches are gonna look very much like this, not very detailed. You can put the grid lines if that's gonna help you, that's fine. Because for the sketch, this is okay. Like it's gonna be really rough and not so detailed, okay? Now, so make sure you have these notes. Again, these are in the video, but because we're drawing it out together, I feel like it's understood a little bit easier when I go over it together with you like this. In the video, it's gonna show you examples of artwork, kind of like how we guessed right now. So the video's there to kind of like reinforce things and help you out, but it's, I feel like this kind of helps explain it a lot better when we physically do it together. So let me stop this. I'm gonna share my screen real quick. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna share my screen. Okay, so again, the composition and balance, this video, it goes over all of everything, but you know, I think it's a little bit easier when we go over it together. So this is what you're gonna do. And there's a video here to help you just in case you need it, but I'm gonna show it to you. You're gonna come up with 5 sketches, and they're not big. They're the same size as our notes, right? Like our notes right now we just took, we fit all of those boxes onto one paper, and that's 2, 4, 6, that's 8 boxes. So you can draw your boxes a little bit bigger, just fit 5 of them on there. And you need to use your reference photos. So this is where those photos that we used, let me find mine. So this is where our reference photos come into play. So you can use any of these photos that you collected, or if you want to, because maybe you might have a new idea, you can look up new photos. But if you use new photos, I want you to send me those photos with your drawings, right? So like maybe I want to use this, like some of these birds, and let's see. So you want a minimum of 3 photos to use. So I might use my birds, and I might use like one of my landscapes here. I think that's what I'll do. And then maybe like the little girl holding the umbrella. So, so I'm going to use this photo, and let's see, and I'm going to use the big chubby bird, and actually maybe that little mouse there. So, I'm going to show you how to do the sketches. And again, you're going to create your sketches, you're going to upload the photo of your sketches, and then I want you to also include the photos that you used as your reference. This way I can kind of see what you plan on doing. So in the video, I have some like figures. I'll let you guys watch the video on your own, and then you're gonna upload this for us. Now, this drawing, the sketch, is going to become our first artwork that we're going to slowly take some steps to build it up to be our first like artwork. This way you kind of get an idea of what to do for your artwork. So let's go back to the sketchbook. Okay. So when I'm creating sketches, you want to decide, sorry, would be nice if you saw what I was writing. You want to decide on what direction you want your artwork to go. And this is going to be on the standard paper that you were given. So do you want your sketches to be vertical, or for portrait mode? This is really good for like faces. If for landscapes, horizontal or landscape mode is better for landscapes because you get like it feels like a wider, it's wider so you can see, like kind of see more in your sketch. And so since I'm going to do a landscape, I'm going to do, you know, most of these rectangular. And look at, I can get a little bit bigger if I want to, as long as I fit all 5 onto my paper. Now, if you don't want to decide right away what direction you want to do it, then you don't have to. But then you want to choose like your composition. And I want you to write down what composition you use so I can see that you understand it, right? So if let's say I divide my paper in half, and I want to do this one symmetrical. So maybe I have that little, I'm zoomed in and I have that little like dormouse holding on to some flowers. Okay, and then maybe this side I have that really fat looking bird here. Okay, and then whatever my landscape is in the background. So maybe some trees or something, right? So, so this is just a really rough sketch. Look, I didn't get into details, right? I'm not doing, now don't copy my sketch because you need to create your own, but you're gonna come up with 5 of them. So then maybe I like these 2 animals and I want to do a new composition. Maybe I want to try it with rule of thirds, or maybe I want to do asymmetrical, where maybe I have like the bird really big coming off the edge of the paper. And then in the distance, I have like the little mouse with its flowers in the distance. And then maybe I have like my forest with the little arch in the background, right? So notice this is really rough, really sketches. If you can't tell what it is, maybe leave me notes that that's like the mouse, right? Like maybe leave me a note, or even for yourself, you know, so that like we know like that's the bird, that's the mouse. This is asymmetrical. So this is what your sketches should be like. They should be fast. They're going to be messy. I don't want a super detailed like line drawing.